so much. Thank you all very much. Linda, thank you for your remarks and your leadership. As you all know, I've been a big fan of Mayor Vince Williams and his enthusiasm for a long time. However, I'm thankful that Mayor Bottom set the record straight that the Super Bowl is this week. It's not next week. I will say this. I think if whoever, I don't know who's singing the national anthem, but if they come down with laryngitis, I know somebody close by that can handle that. Also want to just, like Larry did, first of all, thank you for the invitation to be here, but also wanted to thank the legislators, certainly Lieutenant Governor, Speaker, for being here this morning, all our constitutional officers, PSC members, and I know a lot of the agency heads. We've got a great team here in Georgia, and I'm certainly honored to be the 83rd governor and looking forward to working with every single one of them. And as you all know, at the local level, it is a great time to be a Georgian. Wages are on the rise. Unemployment is the lowest in 18 years. Our graduation rates are increasing while incarceration rates are declining. Our state is literally an epicenter for job growth, and we are now the Hollywood of the South. As you all know, we've been the top state for business 6 years in a row. We're a leader in countless industries, including agriculture, cyber, fintech, and aerospace. And with a AAA bond rating and $2.5 billion in our rainy day fund, our fiscal house is certainly in order. And our state of the state is rock solid. And we are building a safer, stronger Georgia. As many of you know, after graduating from the University of Georgia, I started my first business, Kemp Development and Construction Company. And 30 years later, I've had the honor of creating hundreds of jobs in communities all over this great state. And I know, like you all do at the local level, that small businesses are the backbone of Georgia's economy. And that's one reason, just hours after taking the oath of office, I did as I said I would do. And I signed an executive order creating the Georgians First Commission. This 18-member commission of diverse leadership teams of business people, not bureaucrats, will represent areas urban, suburban, and rural parts of our state. They will work in the years ahead to identify taxes, fees, regulations, and red tape that make it difficult to grow jobs, expand operations, and invest in our local communities. As many of you know that worked with me over the last decade or so, as Secretary of State, we streamlined government and saved the taxpayers millions of dollars. I'm confident that we can do the same during my tenure as your governor. On the first day in office, I also signed 2 other executive orders to fulfill promises I had made to hardworking Georgians across the state. As governor, I'm committed to a harassment-free workplace for executive branch employees and Georgians who interact with our government. I've ordered some reforms on how sexual harassment complaints are handled in state government, in the executive branch, and I've also outlined standards for investigations and have set the bar high. By implementing uniform policies and training, we will offer more protections for the victims. We will not tolerate sexual harassment in state government. I also issued a code of ethics to the executive branch agencies for transparency and public confidence in the actions of officials and employees. As your governor, it is imperative that I do the right thing when no one is watching, and I expect the same for those who are working in state government. As you all know, last year, and I commend the Speaker and the Legislature for lowering the state income tax rates and fully funding the QBE public education formula. I'm confident that we are going to do that again. To enhance educational outcomes and to build a 21st century state, we must invest in those who educate, inspire, and lead our students. As I've said many times, 44% of our teachers are leaving the profession within the first 5 years. And to be able to recruit and retain the best and brightest in our schools, We must remove the heavy burdens in the classroom and keep teacher pay competitive. That's why this year I proposed a $3,000 permanent salary increase for certified Georgia teachers. This is the largest pay increase for teachers in Georgia history, and it serves as a sizable down payment on my promise to ultimately raise pay by $5,000. In addition to the investments in personnel, we must also prioritize school safety. And I certainly appreciate the legislature's leadership on that issue last year, but there is more to do. That is why I allotted $69 million in one-time funding for school security grants. All 2,294 public schools in our state will receive $30,000 a grant to implement school security priorities determined locally. But as you all know, working at the local level, we also must address mental health issues that often lead to school violence. We've included $8.4 million in new funding that will go through the successful APEX program so we can focus on mental health in Georgia high schools. These professionals will engage with struggling students and also provide critical resources to prevent disruptive and aggressive behavior. They will inspire, mentor, and keep our students safe. I know that you all know this as well, that places like Atlanta, Augusta, Savannah, and Columbus continue to grow and thrive, which is a good thing. But in many other areas of our state, it still feels like the Great Recession in your local community. Businesses are closing, opportunities are drying up, and quite honestly, people are losing faith. As governor, I will work to ensure that someone's potential is not determined by their zip code or what city or county that they live in. And by working with the House Rural Development Council and their colleagues in the Senate, we are working to expand access to high-speed internet, quality health care, and a good education all over this great state. Through strategic partnerships, we can ensure that every part of our state has access to opportunity. Right now, our focus is on many things, but certainly it's on recovery efforts in areas impacted by Hurricane Michael. I believe that by working with our federal, state, and local parties, and also working across party lines, we can rebuild, revive, and renew South Georgia. Under Governor Deal's leadership, as you all know, and thanks to the legislature again for this, the criminal justice system was reformed, and it has saved millions. Recidivism rates have been reduced, we've helped strengthen families, and we've given nonviolent offenders a second chance at life. As governor, I'm committed to continuing Governor Deal's legacy and the work of the legislature. But I'm also committed to taking on the rise of gang activity in our state. According to a recent survey, there are over 71,000 validated gang affiliates and over 1,500 suspected gang networks in our state. These gangs are pawns for the Mexican drug cartel, pushing opioids and drugs, buying and selling our children for sex, and literally flooding our communities with violence and fear. Because of that, I have added $500,000 in my proposed budget in initial funds to form a gang task force within the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. This highly qualified group of experienced law enforcement personnel and prosecutors will work with local district attorneys and local law enforcement to stop and dismantle gangs. Also, by utilizing the criminal gang and criminal alien database, we can track and deport drug cartel kingpins who are terrorizing our communities. I'm also committed to working with our Attorney General, Chris Carr, federal, state, and local partners. We can and we will undermine organized crime in our state. also believe that we must lend a helping hand to those who are in crisis. That is why my inaugural budget for fiscal year 2020 includes $28.1 million for behavioral health services to provide treatment and recovery opportunities for Georgians with mental health issues as well as addiction. We've also allotted $4.3 million to further expand accountability courts to divert nonviolent offenders from incarceration, saving taxpayer dollars, providing services and rehabilitation opportunities to prevent recidivism and transform lives all over our state. Each of these programs will play a vital role in treating mental illness before a tragedy occurs. Together, we can build a safer future for all Georgia families. Finally, while different parts of our state have unique challenges and concerns, all Georgians deserve a patient-centered healthcare system that puts families first. The status quo is simply unacceptable. 79 counties have no OB/GYN, 64 counties no pediatrician, 9 counties no doctor at all. Insurers are leaving the state, and hardworking Georgians are struggling to pay their premiums. I've included $1 million in my proposed budget for the Department of Community Health to craft state flexibility options for Georgia's Medicaid program. We will expand access without expanding a broken system that fails to deliver for patients. We will drive competition and improve quality while encouraging innovation. I again want to thank Governor Sonny Perdue and Nathan Deal. Our state weathered the Great Recession and emerged stronger than ever. And to ensure a bright and promising future, we must continue to build on our success. We must address the challenges that we all face, and we must unite for the betterment of our state. And I am confident, very confident, that if we work together and put hardworking Georgians first, our best days will certainly be ahead of us. Now, as you all know, it was spoken to earlier, Atlanta will host the Super Bowl this weekend. Officials estimate an injection of roughly $400 million into our economy from this one event. No doubt it will be good for business, and we look forward to a great game. Sadly, law enforcement officials also anticipate heightened criminal activity, especially human trafficking, as we lead up to Super Bowl 53. To promote awareness of this threat, I have declared this week Human Trafficking Awareness Week in Georgia. I hope that you all will join me in bringing awareness to this problem. We must fight this terrible, illegal enterprise in our state, which victimizes our children and exploits thousands of people. According to Street Grace, this criminal enterprise represents a $290 million industry alone. I simply had to ask 3 or 4 times, is that number correct? Sadly, it is. We must band together to stop this. If you see anything suspicious, immediately notify law enforcement, not just for this week, but as we move ahead. This is a call to action for all Georgians and all visitors to our state. You can make a difference. Together, we can put an end to human trafficking. In closing, let me just also say that as the mayor mentioned, we are closely watching the storm. I've been in touch with the mayor's office all weekend, and my staff has as well. We were briefed over the weekend several different times about what's developing with the storm. I would just ask that you all, as you're in town today and dealing with this as it comes tomorrow, to just pay attention to the media, to our social media, and to the Georgia Emergency Management Agency as well for continued updates so we can deal with whatever's coming our way. I want to say I'm very thankful to the leadership team that we have. Unfortunately, they had a lot of experience under the Deal administration dealing with a lot of different storms that have come our way. But they are a seasoned group of folks that are very well prepared, and we just want to stay ahead of this. We know it's a very important week, for our capital city, but also for our state, and we want to continue to make sure that everyone stays safe. And the last thing I would just mention to you, I want to thank all of you for your friendship over the years. You've shown me a lot of hospitality as Secretary of State when I went around and visited all 159 of our counties, and obviously stopped in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cities across our state. I've worked with GMA, I've been to your conferences, our folks have, and I just want you to know that I'm looking forward to working with you all that are in this room today, your partners at GMA, as we continue to make Georgia the best place to live, work, and raise our families. Thank you so much for having me.